Welcome to Asset Television News. I am Omike Matthew. Here are the headlines of the news. Nigerian Senate extends lifespan of budget to December 31. Former Vice President Atiku stripped of title in Adamawa State. Nigerian Legion boys over choice of chairman. For details of these stories, please do stay with us. Another news in full. The Nigerian Senate has approved a further extension for the capital components of the 2024 national budget, moving the implementation deadline to December 31, 2025. This decision was made during Tuesday's plenary session following the presentation and rapid passage of an amendment bill to the Appropriation Act, which was read and passed through all three readings in one sitting. The debate was led by Senator Solomon Adiola, chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, who justified the extension by emphasizing the need to complete ongoing projects under the 2024 budget and citing revenue constraints that have delayed capital project execution.
Due to some projects which are yet to be funded and implemented, we find it very important to come before these ALO chambers that this budget be extended by further 6 months, that is to end on 31st December 2025, to allow, among other things, the procurement process to be completed, money to be released for the implementation of the capital component of these budgets.
In line with the desire of the present government and in consonance with the renewed hope agenda to ensure that no project is abandoned in the course of implementation of the budget, and coupled with the financial inflow challenges that the government experienced, there is need to extend the capital component of this budget so that no project will be left abandoned and dividends of democracy will be brought to the doorsteps of the people in tandem with the renewed hope agenda.
Some senators, including Abdullah Yahya and Abdul Ningi, criticized the repeated extensions as indicative of weak execution capacity within ministries, departments, and agencies, urging the federal government to provide explanations and calling for a committee inquiry.
What is going
Deputy
on?
Senate President Barau Jibril, who presided over Tuesday's plenary, ruled in favor of the bill following the adoption of the Senate Committee on Supplies report.
What is going on? That activities of the government are being stalled. Contractors who had even succeeded in completing their projects have not been paid. The system that they have adopted in getting payment done centrally from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has woefully failed. I know of some efforts that have been made by the leadership of the Senate and maybe the leadership of the House to sensitize the Ministry of Finance and the relevant institutions of the executive arm of government about the danger this kind of thing poses not just to the security of this country, but also to the whether the government actually is working.
I watch the chairman of appropriation and the way and manner he presented this particular bill speaks volume of his body language, because the fact of the matter, Mr. President, as a parliament, what you ought to hear from the committee chairman of appropriation is whether or not we are experiencing revenues, shortage of revenues, whether or not there is no money in this country to pay off this implemented project. Mr. President, it is not about procurement.
Government has grounded, that's what it means.
Contractors who have done their jobs, committed their resources, cannot be paid. The benefits of the budget that we all took time to work on and passed has not gotten to the people. And guess what? We are talking of the capital component. The recurrent component, which is for the bureaucrats, it has gotten to them 100%.
I am reluctantly supporting the extension of the 2024 capital component of the budget. Because, Mr. President, as has been observed, many contractors who had money had committed their funds into executing projects. Many contractors who don't have money have stalled in the execution of the projects. And we have 2025 budget before us. Even those who have funds to commit to projects will be very, very unwilling to commit their money into these projects because of the fear that they will not be paid.
This marks the second extension, with the initial one having shifted the deadline from December 31, 2024 to June 30, 2025 after a request from President Bola Tinubu. In a similar development, the chamber considered and passed the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Amendment Bill seeking to extend the duration of the trust fund from 6 to 12 years with the aim of enhancing police training, equipment and facilities. Without opposition, the bill was read for the second and third time following the required suspensions of Senate Rule 78, subsection 1. Both bills now await concurrence by the House of Representatives before heading to the President for assent. The Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development has stressed the importance of intergovernmental collaboration, asserting that no single state can successfully develop the vast solid minerals sector without partnering with the federal government. The chairman of the committee, Ekong Samson, stated this during separate courtesy visit to the governors of Enugu and Ebonyi states as part of the committee's oversight tour of mining sites across the southeast. Speaking in Enugu after meeting Governor Peter Mba, Samson said the committee's visit to mining sites is aimed at assessing the sector and gathering actionable insights to guide national mining policies. The oversight visit also included key senators such as the Vice Chairman, Kabeb Mustafa, Deputy Majority Whip, Oyechuku Nwamboyi, Anthony Ani, Kelvin Chuku, Diket Blank, and Okechuku Eze. The indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has condemned the announcement by President Bola Tinubu proposing the establishment of cattle ranches in Abuja, the ancestral homeland of Gbagi people and other states across the country. The pro-Biafran group said the move is nothing but Ruga repackaged and a sinister land-grabbing strategy cloaked in government policy. In a press statement, IPOB spokesman Ima Powerful said it is a shame that in the 21st century the federal government is prioritizing cow colonies over education, security, and innovation. According to Powerful, what began as the need for grazing centuries ago led to the total subjugation of proud territories, adding the rise of alien emirates and the transformation of indigenous owners of the land into strangers of the land in their ancestral homes, stressing that Abuja is about to witness the same fate if it is not stopped. Kaduna State government has refuted claims by former Governor Nasir El-Rufai that all projects recently commissioned by President Bola Tinubu during his visits to Kaduna were initiated by his administration. The former governor had claimed that all the projects commissioned by the president during his visits to the state were initiated by his administration. But the state government, in response to his claim, described El-Rufai's assertion as a bare-faced lie and an attempt to distort facts. In a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Uba Sani, Ibrahim Musa on Tuesday, the government outlined the true origins and achievements of the project commissioned by President Tinubu, emphasizing that they were either initiated or completed under Governor Sani's administration. Tinubu inaugurated 3 major projects, including the Institute of Vocational Training and Skills Development, 300-bed Bola Ahmed Tinubu Specialist Hospital, and 100 compressed natural gas buses. The state government clarified that the Institute of Vocational Training were fully initiated and completed by Governor Sani's administration. Former Vice President and People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 general election, Atiku Abubakar, has lost his traditional title, the title of Waziri Adamawa. Atiku's son, Alhaji Aliyu Atiku, the Turaki Adamawa, also lost his traditional title. Atiku was crowned in February 2023 by the present Lamido of Adamawa, Mustafa Barkindo. The Adamawa state government on Tuesday issued a new directive mandating that all kingmakers and members of traditional councils across the state must be indigenous to the chiefdoms or emirates they represent. The circular, signed by Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Chieftaincy Affairs, Adama Maman, read, all kingmakers and council members in the state must be indigenous of their respective chiefdoms. The directive stated that only individuals from Yola South, Yola North, Giri, Mayo, Belwa, Song, and Zumo districts can serve as kingmakers or council members in the Adamawa Emirate Council. Asset Television News will be taking a quick break now. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Please do stay tuned. Welcome back to Asset Television News, and now the news continues. A seeming discontent is brewing with the ranks of the Nigerian Legion following the election of a female corporal as chairman to lead an organization that has retired generals within the fold. The corporal, Grace Morinike Henry, who is said to be close to the presidency, served only 8 years in the army before leaving the service. Assets TV had it authoritatively that a memo emanated from the presidency and signed by Damilotun Adiremi that Grace has the mandate of the presidency to be conferred with the authority of chairman of Nigerian Legion over and above her seniors. The Legion has among its fold retired generals and other senior officers. The National Commercial Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association has called on President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima to fulfill their campaign promise of 2,000 CNG tricycles, warning that failure to do so may trigger a nationwide peaceful protest by its members. At a press conference in Abuja, the national president of Natumuras, Usman Gwaza, expressed deep disappointment and frustration over what he described as the government's continued neglect of the association despite their significant support for the All Progressives Congress during the 2023 elections. Recounting their active involvement in the APC campaign, Goza said their efforts led to the creation of the Directorates of Community Transport, Keke and Okada, with himself appointed as national director. Natumuras, he said, was the only association of tricycle and motorcycles riders that publicly declared full support for the Tinubu-Shettima campaign. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has said that Nigeria recently signed a memorandum of understanding with India to prevent the production of codeine-based syrups for importation into the country. This is even as the agency reiterated that it is strengthening actions and cooperation in curtailing the availability, accessibility, and affordability of the drugs. The Apapa strategic commander of the NDLEA, Abuba Wakama, disclosed this on Monday while addressing journalists at the command as part of activities to mark the commemoration of the 2025 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking. He said that the event, which has been built to take place on Thursday, themed "The evidence is clear, invest in prevention, break the cycle." To the international scene now, the Zambian government has filed an urgent case in a South African court seeking to stop the burial of former President Edgar Lungu, according to state media reports. This is the latest twist in a row between the government and Lungu's family over his burial, after the family opted for a private ceremony in South Africa rather than a full state funeral at home. And with that foreign news, we'll now take you to the world of sports. French club Lyon have been demoted to League 2 because of the poor state of their finances. The club were provisionally demoted by the DNGC, the body which oversees the accounts of French professional football clubs, in November. Lyon officials, including owner John Destor, met with the DNGC on Tuesday but failed to convince the body that the club had sufficiently improved their financial situation to lift the punishment. Last October, his Eagle Football Club, which owns a 77% stake in Lyon, announced debts of £422 million. In a statement, Lyon said the DNGC's decision was incomprehensible and confirmed they would appeal. Lyon's relegation could prove significant to Crystal Palace's hopes of playing in the Europa League next season. Their participation is currently in doubt because of UEFA rules, which prevents multiple teams under one multi-club ownership structure competing in the same European competition. Dexter owned stakes in both clubs, although he agreed a deal to sell his 43% share in Palace on Monday. Arsenal are set to complete in Chelsea in 2018 for £72 million from boyhood club Athletic Bilbao. He played 163 times for Chelsea, winning 4 major honours during a mixed 7-year spell at Stamford Bridge. He also spent a season on loan at Real Madrid and won La Liga and the Champions League during the 2023-2024 season. Brazil's all-time leading goal scorer Neymar has renewed his contract with boyhood club Santos until December. The 33-year-old returned to the Brazilian club on a 6-month deal in January after the termination of his contract with Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal. Neymar has scored 141 goals and made 69 assists in 243 appearances for Santos. The former Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona forward had been linked with a return to Europe before signing a new deal with Santos until the end of the Brazilian Serie A season with an option to extend. I made a decision and I listened to my heart, said Neymar. And that's the sports. I am Omiki Matthew. French. And with that, the sports story, we've come to the end of today's package of the news on Asset Television. I am Omiki Matthew. On behalf of the production team, I want to wish you a very pleasant day. Bye-bye.